We're
We're back.
back. We are
Yeah.
back with episode number
Uh,
233,
33?
which I am calling What's Spinning?
What's spinning,
Pretty
right?
simple message. And I
That's a good
just
one.
remembered that Steve, which we were expecting to be here as well, um, is not here because he told us last week he was going to be on vacation. And
Oh, that's right. So we've got
he did tell
two
us
other
that last week.
members of the round table on vacation, so to
Yep,
speak.
Rob is on vacation as well. He is out of pocket for at least a week. So
Yeah.
good for him. I'm sure he can use it.
Well,
I know
he's
I
got
could.
his hands full. He's got his hands full with this launch of, and I have to just do a shameless plug because they're one of our sponsors too. Is 128 DB Rock.
Yep.
Um, I've actually been included on that, doing the crypt on Friday nights at 10 o'clock to midnight Central Standard Time. So get on to 128db.rock.com and check that out. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know, and we'll see where it goes. But wow, we've had a great response, and I know Rob's got his hands full with that. Plus, he works like me, too many hours, and he needs a break. So,
Yes, he does because and
well,
Rob works many different jobs as well. So,
right,
you know,
between
besides being
mastering and the record
yeah, besides
store
the
and
mastering is only one thing that people know about here, but on top of that, yeah, he's got a full-time job that he does, and he is he has a record store that he runs. So good for him.
all of which keeps him very, very, very busy.
Exactly. So the only bad thing about Rob not being here is that I couldn't post on our different accounts letting know the show was up tonight. So
Oh,
hopefully people will figure it out on their own, and people will start coming in eventually. So,
yeah, I already
but in any
talked to
case,
like our friend Tody Clem, and he said that he's at work, but he's going to chime in. So there's at least one guy that's going to chime in later.
yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I'm sure that'll be people. It's just because I couldn't post, people don't know what we're doing or when we're doing it. So, but
I'm
the
not sure
faithful
we
who
do
are usually
half
here every
the time.
time, I'm sure we'll be here to say hey to everybody. We should
Yep.
do a show sometime where we allow other people just to come in and talk or add question or have questions or show something they want to show, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do
I
it.
think it'd be
I'm
kind
sure
of fun.
Baron von Headbanger has hot sports or hot music opinions, and so does Damien Hair Metal.
Air metal, Alex V85,
Yep,
all here right now.
that's a new one.
Thank
That's
you
a
for being
new one
here.
to me. Is that? Do you know who that is?
I do not know who
Alex.
that is.
Okay, well, welcome, Alex.
Tell us who you are in the chat a little bit, Alex. Anyhow, so today we are going to do a What's Spinning episode. But before we get into that, I don't know if you have any shout outs, but we also need to get into your um, pick of the week, POW. I don't know if you have two or not this week, but he's been doing two, one metal, one rock. So
Yep.
put
Well,
it all
I'm
on you.
gonna. Yes, I'm gonna. And this is way, way out of bounds, probably for some, because this is more of a modern rock pick. But I went over to Henry Vasquez's house one night, and he was playing something on one of his massive stereos. His house looks somewhat like mine, and it's got stereos in every room and drum kits and stuff hanging on the wall and whatever. He was playing something, and it was so loud and so cool and such a killer riff. And I said, "What is that?" And he said, "It is a band called Paw."
Oh,
Paw.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I don't
And
have
the
that one, but
album
I've heard of them.
was Dragline. And man, the more I listen to this, the more I think everybody needs a copy of this. Um, they had a second album, full length, that was kind of weirdly country flavored, kind of like The Sword or something. But this is like I think someone from the grunge era, like Chris Cornell or someone like that, discovered them. They're a Seattle band, or a band that plays Seattle grungy type music. I don't know the whole background. Maybe Henry will pop in and tell us. But man, Paw Dragline is my one of my rock picks of the week. I think everybody needs to have it. At least check it out online. And because of my current circumstances, I am, as you well know, Scott. In about 6 weeks, I am going to be adding extra fans to the house, and it's a big event. We checked out the venue on Saturday, and shout out to the Platinum Music Complex in North Richland Hills and Larry there. It's a spectacular thing, and Dwayne, and we're appreciative of you letting us have our ruptured nuptials there. But anyway, what it's caused me to do is as I clear out rooms, because like I said, you've been here, you know that every room is a record room, CD room,
Hmm.
tape, whatever. I'm gladly clearing out space for my new family, and I'm so excited, and I think everybody is. But what it's caused me to do is reflect on stuff that I had that I didn't know I had. And so in doing that, I ran across this Rabid Flesh Eaters, Reign of Terror. I actually did the album cover to this. The original cover had half the face was mine and half the face was a werewolf, but we went with all werewolf. Um, but anyway, if you love Texas metal and you love, in particular, rigor mortis, you need this record, Rabid Flesh Eaters. Mike Taylor is a brilliant guitar player. The other members in the band are Ricky is Wilson is awesome on vocals. They're just a savage. This is like a savage rendition of it's like if rigor mortis decided to step up to a more thrashy element, which is hard to believe that they could, but this is it right here. So this is my metal pick of the week as I reflect back on my collection, my massive collection that I'm trying to consolidate into less rooms. But Rabid Flesh Eaters, Reign of Terror, this is their first full-length record. They have another record out and some stuff in the works, and I can't wait to hear it. And Paw Dragline is my modern rock pick. So you can't go wrong with either one. It comes with the Carcass John guarantee that you're gonna like them. So
Right
there you
on.
go.
Cool. Got any other shout outs before I?
No, other than that, I mean, I appreciate you guys sticking with me even despite the deleterious circumstances of last week and my network issues.
Oh.
Like I said, never leave never leave your browser open over the holiday weekend because Microsoft 10 Pro updated, and I don't even have Microsoft 10 Pro. And so, after a lot of technical advice and some help from one of the IT members at work, I got my computer cleared out, and here I am back in full color. So I feel pretty good about that.
Nice. Okay.
What about you?
Um, um, been a rough week for me. Not a hard week, just a rough one. I yesterday was at the I got a call from my mom, like, I don't know, late. My mom is, I mean, I'm in my 50s, so you can imagine my mom is up there in age, and so she doesn't usually call me late at night, but she called me late at night, and she said that her dog, which was my dad's dog, my dad passed away years ago, was not doing well, and she was going to have to rush him to the vet. So she went to the vet at like 4 o'clock in the morning that next day and sat there outside in the parking lot waiting to get in because she wanted to be the first one in there because they only take walk-ins right at 7 a.m. Everybody else has to have an appointment. So she sat there and waited. And well, unfortunately, the dog was in heart failure and
Hmm.
was not doing well. So I had to rush over there and, you know, I pet the dog and pet the dog as they put him down and went to sleep. And it was sad. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to lose a pet. I mean, for me, it's a big deal, but it's even worse when it's a pet connected to someone that you love that's no longer around.
Sure, I've had that
And so,
unfortunate experience of having to
but,
be there while the animal is extending to the next plane. It's just
but I
terrible.
have to
And
say, the doctor was superb. I mean, he was so kind, very gentle, was very understanding of the pain she was going through, and it was a very it was just he was very nice. So I just appreciate that. So, but the other thing is that happened this week is, of course, everybody knows, and we don't do politics here, but I just want to say I'm thankful that um, President Trump did not get shot in the head. Yeah, that would just have been a bad deal for. I mean, it was a bad deal for the country as it was, but if they would have been shot, I can't imagine the mayhem that would have happened afterwards. So
well,
it's bad enough that we.
I think they call that
Learned.
poking the bear. And despite your religious, political, or other affiliations, wishing the death of another human being is, I don't know. That's I think that's a time for reevaluation. But anyway,
Yeah,
um,
exactly. So that's I'm
for,
not, like I said, I'm not making a political statement one way or the other. I'm just saying that I'm glad that that didn't happen because I can't imagine the fallout if it had happened.
and it would have
I
been grievous to
Yeah, I can't
both
imagine.
sides.
I
But
can't imagine it would have been a good thing. So In
Yeah.
any case, that's those are two things I just wanted to say that had nothing to do with music necessarily, but definitely was a big effect on my life. I just happened to be watching the TV, walked in the house, and I was watching the Trump and saw the whole thing go down, and I was just like in shock. So
Yeah.
my whole family was here in our yard and at the pool. So I went outside and told everybody, and I was like, "You're not gonna believe what just happened." And in any case, all right,
Well,
that's depressing. Let's talk about something happier. Let's talk
well,
about
I
some.
was gonna say having being a little bit older, and I actually saw some of that. I saw the Robert Kennedy. I was watching the Robert Kennedy thing when Mr. Sirhan decided to take him out. It was something that has still stuck with me, and of course, you never want to see that. But as mentioned, let's swim back to that fun island where nothing bad goes on except for music.
Except for the occasional bad word in the music. Hey,
Right, right. Well, and I
yeah.
liked your idea of just, what's spinning because like I said, I'm desperately trying to clear out space and and I want everybody to know that I'm happily doing it. Uh, I love these kids. I love Steph, and it's going to be really awesome to have the whole team right here in the one central location. And but what it's caused me to do, like I said, is it's caused me to reflect and look and listen to stuff that, man, I kind of forgot that I even had. So I'm going to show you some of the things that, as I was pulling, in fact, I have the fingernails to prove that I've been pulling posters and thumbtacks out of the wall, and and I have the calves that hurt from going up and down the ladder, and but you know what? It's all worth it, and it's been actually physically beneficial, and musically, it's I've discovered some new stuff. So you want to
Nice.
go first, or you want me to go first?
Oh, you can go first. You go ahead and show a few.
Okay. Well, I something I rarely delve into are box sets, and I have a bunch. I just didn't realize how many because, well, like you, they just stack up, stack up, stack up, and you don't really, unless you're actually looking for a box set, you don't realize how many you have. And I talked to Rob earlier in the week, and I said, "Are you interested in any box sets?" And he said, "Well, how many do you have?" And I said, "I really don't know." But anyway, let me start with this one. This is one, and I ended up taking out all the tapes. This is Sentenced, uh, the death metal orchestra from Finland. They're not really an
Uh-huh.
orchestra. They're kind of on the leading edge of that late 80s, early 90s. And these are demos from 90, 91, and 92 on actual tapes, and then there's 10-inch vinyl in here too. So it's pretty cool. So I've got both the 10-inch and the tape, and a huge book. But I forgot how good these guys are. Sentenced used is one of those bands that changed a little bit, but those first two albums plus these demos are just untouchable, man. They were part of that Gothenburg sound and the Swedish
Yep.
death metal wave that hit in the early 90s. So that was one that I loved revisiting because, man, I hadn't really sat down and listened to it like I should. I don't know. How about this? Napalm Death. This was a record store day thing, from enslavement to obliteration, but it's a Japanese pressing on audiophile vinyl, and with new liner notes with Shane Embry, who's the bass player, and it's orange and white splattered. It's really cool, but I forgot how good this was. I mean, I love everything Napalm's ever put out, and they're one of my favorite heavy metal, death metal. Everyone says they're the granddaddies of grind. I guess I understand why they would say that, but they've gotten a lot of melody lately, and their riffing is just terrifying. If you're not familiar with Napalm, I'd start with their newest stuff and work your way backwards. But anyway, this From Enslavement to Obliteration is a classic album. It's 35 years old, and the packaging and and just the sound is even better than normal. So highly recommend that. And I'll show a couple more and then turn it over to you because I
Go
sure
for it.
wish Steve were here. But once again, I did the album cover artwork, Kings and Liars. This is our friend Charlie and Nikki Belmore from oh gosh, Corpse Grinder, D. Snyder, Toxic Holocaust, Kingdom of Sorrow. These guys have played in everything, but this is their little personal side project. And man, if you love a heavier version of Alice in Chains, um, and I don't want them to be looped into that grungy scene, but they have a very heavier Alice in Chains vibe. But Kings and Liars just absolutely rules. I've got their demos. I broke those out because of that. But something about just sitting there and listening while you're working, and especially to that, it's got a killer groove to it. And anyway, highly recommend that. So here's a real rare bird, and I wish Steve were here because I know how much he loves Sepultura.
Hmm.
But
He does.
this is, and I have, yes, I'm so old and I'm such a curmudgeon. I have laser disc players. Well, this is a Japanese only laser disc. Uh, Sepultura Under Siege live in Barcelona, and man, the track listing on this, Desperate Cry, Dead Embryonic Cells, Mass Hypnosis. I mean, it's just raging Sepultura. And so I was kind of watching it out of the corner of my eye, and I was working and listening to the great music. And I've got two more, and then I will turn it over to you. I was kind of
Go for
hoping
it.
Steve would be here for this too, because this is a audiophile copy of Iron Maiden Power Slave, which blasphemy or not, this is my favorite Iron Maiden record. I think start to finish, it's my favorite Bruce Dickinson Iron Maiden. How about that? Um, but anyway, I played this thing twice because I just couldn't believe how good it was. And then we there's a small record store in town called St. Marie Records. It's right around the corner from Henry's over at Born Late, but he's got his own international label called St. Marie Records, and he has a bunch of ambient and real eclectic shoegaze type type artists, and this is one of them, Mark Van Owen, and it is really chill, and I almost couldn't listen to it because it was too quiet and too slow, and it got me too relaxed, and I needed to work. But Mark Van Owen, Playing with Time, this thing is really fabulous, especially at the end of the day. And that's what I should have done. I should have saved this for the end when I was trying to wind down, because I would work. In fact, one weekend I think I had 40,000 steps in 3 days and 24 floors of, you have your Fit watch that measures all that stuff, and I didn't even leave the house. I was just up and down ladders and up and down steps and carrying boxes and so forth. But um, anyway, that Mark Van Owen should have been my end of day to help me sleep. But what do you got, Scott? What have you been spinning lately?
Well, first of all, Baron von Headbanger says his wife is from Brazil, and I
Oh,
just wanted to
great.
let you know that Steve's wife is from Brazil as well, which is one of the reasons he's into Sepultura so much. So, Steve's a vet though, so he's also loves Japan because he was in Japan for a long time. But what do I have? Well, today I listened to two albums because I had to, but they're great albums. But
Okay.
what is that? This is a test pressing for Hades, The Downside,
Oh, wow.
and that's not
That's
it.
let me just interject. That's a surprisingly great record. I I listened to the first two. Those are the key ones in the Hades catalog. At least I thought so. But that thing is really good. The
And I
Downside.
think this one's even better. I think this is one of their best albums. This is Hades Save Yourself, which was their
Oh
third
yeah,
full
yeah.
length album. It's diverse, very thrashy, great riffing. It's got a few. It kind of ebbs and flows. It was like Weeze's Tapestry, because I mean they'll be playing these heavy, fast thrashing riffs, and the very next song will be kind of melancholy and even acoustic at times. So I just think both these albums are fantastic, and I'm glad they're finally getting released on vinyl. And this may look like I'm promoting my label, but this is not on my label. So this is somebody else putting this out. But
Well, even if
I'm
you were
looking.
promoting your label, that would still be fine, Scott, because you have some killer stuff on your label. So
Thank you.
whatever.
But yeah, these two Hades albums are fantastic. But I mean, I've kind of been in a Hades mood just because I've been working on a bunch of Hades stuff. So I also was spinning the this album here, which um, the band says is one of their favorites. I think he said that when he was on our show, right?
Yeah, you
Damnation.
did. Yep.
And then
I actually listened to that for the first time. I didn't even know existed. I mean, I'd been taking notes and I thought, what the heck is that? And so I looked it up, and sure enough, it's killer.
I do know he's not a big fan of the cover art, but I don't think it's bad. I get why he's not a fan, but yeah, I don't know. It's not that bad.
No,
But
yeah,
and then
sure to
the
get your attention.
I spun this one too. So this is the live album location. Um, which this one's kind of hard to find. I went and looked for it, you know,
I
after the
have
show with him, and
I
it's
had
hard to
zero
find.
luck finding it. I had zero luck finding it.
Yeah, it's not easy to
So
find. So, and since I'm talking about that kind of stuff, I might as well just keep going with this is on my label and is out and shipping now. So this is Sacred Reich
once
Heel.
again, I was going to say not my. I thought it was not one of my favorite Sacred Reich records, but I went back and I listened to it just because of you guys. And you know what? That's a dang good record, man.
It is a
Sorry,
really good record, and I think a lot of
yeah,
people didn't like it at first, and I know why. Because I didn't.
because it's
I'll be
cheapy.
honest. When it first came out, I was disappointed as well because it wasn't what you're expecting from Sacred Reich. They took
Yeah,
on those first two records, and then they had a couple EPs. They had, it was a mixture of like joke songs and serious songs, and But this is all. There's no jokes on here, although there is now
no,
because there's a bonus track. But it's very dark, very heavy for them. Still has the fast songs, still has the mid-paced songs. So it's I don't know. To me, it's just classic Sacred Reich. And some people have criticized, said, "Why did you put the Sacred Reich logo on there?" Because I wanted the original cover, and that's what this is—the original cover.
yeah,
The original cover
yeah.
did not have the logo.
It's a little more trudging and sludgy than people would expect from Sacred Reich, and I guess that's where I kind of jumped off the boat because I was into speed metal, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not ignorance, but it's
Nope.
still a great record.
But just go to YouTube, check out the title track "Heal." It's classic Sacred Reich, and there's the Sacred Reich logo in case anybody's looking for it. But yeah, this one you can also there's also a European version that's coming out at the same time as this one, and it does have the Sacred Reich logo on it if you really if it matters that much to you. But it's actually this one here is mastered by our own Rob Caldwell. So I
I'm
actually
sure it
ordered
sounds even better.
I actually ordered the European version because that one was mastered by somebody else. So I'm curious to hear the differences
Ooh, do
in
a
it.
side by side test.
Yeah, and then I'll do one more, and then you can go again. But this is also on my label. But because of that, I've been listening to it a lot. This is the first Slaughterhouse. I showed last week the second Slaughterhouse because I was spinning that one last week. But yeah, this is it's New Jersey thrash. I think this was recorded in '89, came out in 1990. Sorry about that noise. I know everybody hates that noise. But it's on a really cool red. Well, it looks orange on my video. Hopefully, it looks red there.
Kind of
But
a
it's got like
marbled.
black marbling in it and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, great. I love thrash. It's my favorite style of heavy metal. I listen to it. I don't think there's ever a day goes by I don't listen to some thrash album. So yeah, it's a classic
No,
in my opinion.
I just did for whatever reason. I woke up one Saturday morning and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a Bay Area thrash compilation, and it's an eclectic mix. But man, You're right. I love thrash too, and I think that's because thrash is where a lot of death metal comes from. It's just a heavier version of thrash, I think, and that's why I love it so much. But
Yeah, me too. But it's got speed and aggression, but it also I like death metal too. But some death metal to me gets monotonous. It's
true,
like speed for speed's sake. Whereas a lot of thrash bands like this, there's a bit of variety, and they don't negate hooks. Um,
right? And I
so
love the thrash breakdown. That's what I was noticing about Exodus this week as I listened. I think I went through the entire Exodus catalog, and say what you want about the change in singers and Paul Bailoff and Rob Dukes and whatever. Those guys really have not put out a bad record, and I don't care what anyone says. Force of Habit is a good album, and it's not your typical Exodus record, but man, those dudes
I,
have riffs for miles, and you can better believe that I look at Exodus records like I look at a batting lineup in baseball, and the fourth track is always going to be um, the heavy one with the moshing little breakdown thing, whether it's Toxic Waltz, whether it's Blacklist, whether it's I mean, think about it. But anyway,
yeah,
love it.
with Force of Habit, I agree with you. I think the problem with that album is they should have pared it down to the best songs and gotten rid of the crappy covers.
Yeah, there are some. Yeah, there's some of that, but and the production is not stellar.
No,
But
but I mean
you know,
it's not bad, but yeah, I just think get rid of a couple of those covers, pare it down to the best 10 songs, and it would have been a great album. But I was going to stop there, but since you mentioned them, I'll show you this as well. I just got
yeah.
this in the mail
Oh wow,
recently.
check that out.
This is an official release, so you can get it's Nuclear Blast, I believe. Yeah, Nuclear Blast. So you can get this one. It just came out, so it was only it was on. I mean, I got mine from Amazon, and it was like 18.99, I think, when I picked it up on vinyl, and the CD was only like $4 cheaper. So I was like, I jumped on it as soon as it was that price, you know. But yeah, the Battle of
Wow.
'89 live album from '89. The track listing is Last Act of Defiance, Fabulous Disaster, Till Death Do Us Part, Corruption, The Toxic Waltz, A Lesson in Violence, Chemi Kill, Piranha, which is one of my favorite Exodus songs. I love Piranha.
Yeah.
Like Father, Like Son, Deliver Us to Evil. I always want to say from. Parasite, and Then There Were None, Verbal Razors, Brain Dead, and Strike of the Beast.
Gee whiz, that's a killer set. If you're not chomping down on your mouthpiece by the end of that thing, you're not paying attention.
So yeah, it's good. I mean, it sounds like it was recorded in '89. It's not like digitally perfect sound quality, but it's definitely better than a lot of bootlegs. So I mean, I
Yeah,
listen to bootlegs all the time, so I don't care.
I've got some boots from them too, and they're
All right,
okay. But I always like it when they beef them up a little. Oh, look at there, Tony Clem. Hello, gentlemen. I'm going to be driving and listening to Osric Tentacles. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will, but I hope you're listening to the Metal Roundtable first.
here
Hope
you
you
go,
have a
Tip
very,
Fan.
very long drive.
Here's the CD versions of the same album. Both of
Hmm.
them remastered by Rob Caldwell, and they sound fantastic. And they have expanded booklets with lyrics and photos and all that kind of fun stuff.
We give him a
So
lot of grief, but I'll tell you what, that dude's got something where he can. I mean, he can. His
he
lipstick on a
just
pig
it
is
always
pretty good.
sounds better. I
Yeah,
don't know what he does, but it always sounds better.
I
All
remember
right,
when
let's
I
see what else
first
we got here.
met.
Damien Hair Metal. I'm seeing Exodus in August with Hyrax. I saw that advertised.
Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome. Let's see what else we got here.
Isn't Havoc or Toxic Holocaust on with Exodus? Did I see? Yeah, I don't have my phone in front of me.
I don't either.
Mm,
Osric Tentacles, of course, you just said that. So Tony Clem, you were the first one to say Osric Tentacles in this episode, so you win the prize.
yes.
Um, and the prize this week is you get to lick Rob's armpit. Let's see. I got the X.
Wow. I didn't know where you were going there. You had me scared. I thought we were going to go rated R immediately. But anyway, thank you for that. Keep
That was
cleaning it up a
disgusting, but
little.
it was funny, but it made me laugh. I got that X's in the mail the other day. Yeah, so let's see what else we got here. Surprising, the song "Bonded in Blood" is not on there. Did I miss
Hmm.
it, or is it not on there?
No,
It is not
no,
on
it's
there.
not.
Nope.
Yeah, you read it. You read it out. You know, when
Yep.
I first met Rob, he said, "Hey, do you like Anthrax?" And I said, "Of course." And then he said, "You want to check out this my remastered version of Fistful of Metal?" I said, "Okay." Wow, what a difference! I mean, not that it's bad to begin with, but like you said, somehow it sounds better.
Yeah, this is.
Anyway,
I always what I hear in most of his recordings is somehow he gets the sound to be a little wider. That's what I always hear. So it opens up everything up so that you can hear the individual instruments just a little more than you could before. He always enhances the bottom end, and the highs they're high, but they never like peak the meter to where they're like
but they're
bouncing off
not
the top.
shrill. They're
Yeah,
not shrill, and I know exactly what you mean by that because I do a little of that. I mean, every system I have in the house has an EQ on it, and for that very
yeah, mine does
reason.
too.
Um, but anyway, but moving forward,
Yep, all
um,
you.
um,
I'm gonna
okay,
I'm gonna I'm
I
gonna solo you for a second. So go
okay,
ahead.
so Typo Negative, that they're a mixed bag for me, but the Queen loves Typo Negative, and we broke this one out one evening and listened to it, and of course she was very, how should I say, enthusiastic about listening to that. Crumb Suckers was another one. I found this thing in like a $2 bin and bought it because and I never really addressed it 100%, but really dig it. So that was something I was listening to while I was working. This is a super rare bird, so shout out to County Line Records here in Keller, Texas. The XN25 crew. Um, if you look on the back, there's a guitar player, and his name is Bill Ham. If that name sounds familiar, you would be right, because that is the producer of ZZ Top. So this is a super, super rarity, and it's on a local Master Noise Music here in Fort Worth, Texas. And it's really a cool record, so I listened to that. I mentioned earlier that I had this thing about box sets. Well, here's a couple of them that I really, really liked, and I had never delved into this, but I found this at a bookstore for in the $2 bin. It's a Sex Pistols box set. It's got a huge book, 6 albums, and includes a 24-page book, and it's got rarities, live music. It's called the Jock Box. So if you can find it, it's got the Sex Pistols, the Filth and the Fury, Last Show on Earth, Sid Vicious, the Real Sid and Nancy, Italian demos, futures. So I just dropped this thing on, and it made me stop working because I was so intrigued by it. Since I'd never really listened to it, I had it, didn't realize it until I was moving box sets. Here's another one. Here's another one. And why I wouldn't recognize this one is beyond me. This is the limited edition Nuclear Blast USA mail order exclusive surgical kit of Carcass surgical steel. So this is what it comes with. It's got a 12-inch picture disc. It's got a giant poster. It's got a DVD steel book. It's got a DVD booklet, a CD with a bonus track, and all items are exclusive to this version of surgical steel and housed in a 12-inch vinyl-sized foil stamped deluxe box set. So it's got the surgical steel album, and then it's got bonus tracks, including intensive battery brooding, and then it's got a DVD of a live show. And this is super cool. And I got this for a song too. And I just don't. I bought it because it was cool, and it was Carcass. Of course, I have everything Carcass, and I didn't really listen to it, and I've got surgical steel. In fact, I just played some of that on my on the Crypt because amount of execution, which I really dig. Which, as I listen to it, might even sound a little religious. You might delve into that and tell me what you think. But anyway, then everything else that I listen to are cassettes. So if you want to take the reins for a little bit, I've got thousands of. Oh, and speaking of Carcass, you think I'm kidding when I say I have everything Carcass. Well, this is a Carcass promo of Heartwork promotional copy now for sale, and it's uberly cool. Has a killer J card insert. But anyway, a shout out to Poser Mark. He is a poser, but sometimes he finds cool stuff, and he didn't dangle me over the barrel too bad on this one, but I ended up with it, so it's cool. And he has wanted to do that all the time. But anyway, what do you got, Sky? What else?
Okay, well, I got this not too long ago in the mail, and I'm I'm a huge Raven fan. They're one of my favorite bands. I thought I owned just about everything they ever put out, including all the the original new wave of British heavy metal singles. And of course, I have this, which a lot of people do, the Break the Chain EP.
Right.
But this is the Break the Chain EP that I've always owned and that most people own, which has Break the Chain, Born to Be Wild, and Inquisitor. All great songs. Love the version of Born to Be Wild. It is one of the most wild, crazy songs ever. Well, a friend of mine from Canada ended up finding the Bonsai copy. And he's like, hey, man, do you want it? And I'm like, heck yeah, I love collecting Bonsai stuff. Bonsai EP's got
a full-length record.
Break the Chain, Born to Be Wild, Inquisitor, Rock Hard, the single version, Wiped Out, the single version, and the Ballad of Marshall Stack, which is a fantastic track as well when released. That was a B-side track. So I was like, I didn't even know that when I said, yeah, I'd like to have it. I just thought it was a cool bonsai pressing, and I love those bonsai pressings. I got several of them.
Sure.
I'm always looking for them. They don't show up here very often because obviously I'm in the United States and so are you. But he finds them every once in a while, and he's not really a Raven fan. So, but yeah, here's the bonsai always has bonsai label on the back.
Yeah, I love their label. I love I collect their cassettes. I've got a bunch of bonsai cassettes. They're a little easier to find than the vinyl, but yeah, they sound good. The quality's always good, and they got just a stack, just a killer list of
Yeah.
people.
The other thing is the back cover. I mean, this is more of a geeky thing, but look at the photos on the back cover. There ain't no
Yeah.
photos on the original. So I don't know. I just that blew me away. So as much as I've heard these songs a bazillion times over in my lifetime, it's just one of those albums. And now that I have that 6-song EP, it just piqued my interest again. I think I played this thing 2 or 3 times this past week or two. So
Yeah.
yeah, very cool.
Raven's
I just didn't know there was a 6-song version of it out there. So yeah,
once again,
there's
if you
that.
delve deep enough into your own collection,
Yeah, very
you never
very
know
cool.
what to find.
This is a new release that there is a vinyl coming. It's not out yet. Um, and the CDs are just shipping now, but this is the brand new album from Human Code. If you don't know who Human Code is, it's these guys. There's their picture on the back. So that is Mike Lee, who now goes by Michael Drive, formerly of Barren Cross. This is George Ochoa right there in the back, who was the guitar player for Recon and Deliverance. This dude here, Terry the Animal Russell, who was the drummer for Holy Soldier and some heavier thrash / Motorhead sounding band whose name is escaping me at the moment for some reason. Drive me crazy when I hate that when you get on camera and you get stupid. And then the bass player is Todd Libby.
You're not getting stupid. You just can't remember.
Todd Libby from Worldview. So yeah, so kind of an all-star lineup.
Sure.
It's heavy rock. That's all I would describe it as. Some of the songs a little more modern. Some of the songs have a classic feel. With Mike Lee, I keep wanting to say that, with Michael Drive singing, formerly known as Mike Lee, you really get, if you like those first 2-3 Barren Cross albums, you get that in a lot of it because of his vocal styles. But yeah, brand new album on Girder Music. I literally just got this week, played it 2 or 3 times. It's good. That's all I got to say about it. It's not. I would not, by any stretch of the imagination, call it metal or thrash or anything like that. It is definitely a rock album, but I like rock too. So
you got Damon Hair Metal all in a fluff. Now he's trying to track down that bonsai pressing of Raven.
Who's that?
Damien Hair Metal.
Oh, right on, man. Good luck with that, Damon. Because I was shocked by that too. I had no idea.
Good luck with it tracking down any bonsai pressing.
I suffer from CRS as well. CRS. Yep, I don't know what that is. I'm sure it's something that we just said, but I don't.
Something record syndrome.
I thought I got a few. I mean, we got plenty of time, so we can show more stuff. But I just got these in the mail today. Haven't even played them yet, so I thought since they're sitting right next to me, I'd show them. But I don't even know if anybody who knows about this. But this is brand new Blood Feast, Infinite Evolution.
Can't remember shiz. Oh wow, Blood Feast. New yes.
So this is the brand new, the brand new Blood Feast. So like I said, it just came in the mail today. I haven't even spun it yet.
Looks old school too, man. It looks like it came out back in the early '90s.
Yeah, and their last album from a couple years ago was really good too. It's on Hell's Headbanger Records. It's not real expensive. The vinyl I think is $24.99. The CD is even cheaper than that. So if anybody's into Blood Feast, that's a it kind of looks like classic Blood Feast too. So
yeah,
I can't tell you if it sounds like classic Blood Feast because I haven't heard it yet.
Well, check it out and let us know next week.
You'll recognize it. I'm going to show a couple more real quick and then you can go. But this next one, I collect anything by this artist, and this is Gigantes del Pop, Jimi Hendrix.
Gigantes del Pop. I love that series, and
I do too. And when I find them, I buy them up. So
yep.
I found this one online. It was still in the shrink wrap, which I know it's blasphemy for some people, but I'm tearing that crap off. I'll put it into a nice poly sleeve. I don't know.
Tear it off.
I'm glad this person kept it on there. The only flaw is right there. You see that little brown spot, but it's in the plastic. It's not on the. It's on the shrink wrap, not on the record itself. This thing is
that's actually a really
fresh.
good one.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So yeah, I've got a few of these. I like them. I have Cream and Aerosmith, and I think I have.
I found a Kansas one, believe it or not, on Gigantes.
Really?
Gigantes del Pop. I found the Who a newer Who and an older Who. Ted Nugent, the Amboy Dukes one.
Yep, I have that one too.
Which
That's the live album. Yep.
that's a
But yeah,
great.
I got this for under $10. So I was just sitting there watching TV with the wife one night, scanning through eBay, and I ran across this, and I was like, oh, put it in my cart, left it there for a couple days. Thankfully, nobody else grabbed it, and I finally snatched it up. And then two more. These are two more that arrived that I haven't even heard yet. I don't have any idea who this is. The cover looks pastel-y, but this is Follower Into the Sun. This is obviously a Christian artist. It looks very 70s. It is not. It's 80s, and from what I understand, it's hard rock. And the band hated this cover.
I was going to say it's hard to believe that that's a hard rock record.
The band hated the cover. This is actually a reissue that came out some years ago on a label called Quicksilver. Do you recognize that label?
Okay. Yeah.
And the label put that cover out. It was the original cover was black and white picture of the band. So they colorized it and put the background behind them, and the band was not happy with it. So I have no idea. I don't even know what it sounds like yet. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'm told it's really, really well done. So
you might have.
And then the last one, you might recognize this one because I know the guy who did the artwork on the front cover of this one.
Oh, good. I'm glad you pulled that one out.
Yep, finally got a copy. This is I got the red vinyl copy here. So,
man, I love that album, and it's relentless. It's just relentless Texas thrash, and despite their interchangeable parts, it all sounds great. I think it's the idea of Rotting Corpse is just that. It's the idea of it. It's the integrity of the name and the band, and it rips. And man, talk about Rob Colwell's ability. That guy down in Austin that remastered those demos from the tapes, dude, he did an amazing job. In fact, their one-off show that they did on the 4th of July was absolutely staggeringly good. And John Perez was there, and they went with a 3-guitar attack. They had Scott Shelby, John Perez, and of course Walt, Steve Murphy, who's been on the show a couple times and touted that thing. And rightfully so. And then Randy Cook on drums, dude, they were freaking awesome. And my daughter, Carcass Spawn, took a bunch of pictures. So get onto their Rotting Corpse 2, Rotting Corpse Thrash, Rotting Corpse Facebook pages. Check out the photos and order that record from Turkey Baster. It's freaking awesome.
I do need to mention, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the 129 dB, is that what it is? Help me out here.
129db.
129 dB. Our sponsor. This show is now supposed to be streaming on them. For whatever reason, it's not streaming on there. So if anybody's trying, I apologize. But you can still watch it on Facebook and YouTube. I just noticed that we have usually when something is working properly, you get a little check mark that it's going. On the 129 dB, for whatever reason, it's got a little exclamation point, which means we're not going through. So
yeah,
I'll apologize to anybody if that was trying to watch on there or listen on there. I guess
they've had a little bit. They've had a glitch here and there, but I will tell you this: the response has been so massive that and we super appreciate it, because I mean, it's a real risk to launch any business, let alone anything having to do with the music business. And listenership is up, and the roster is filling out with some of the legends in North Texas radio, and we're getting some love from Z-Rock and some of the like, and so. And I feel like I'm pretty privileged to be a part of it. And they gave me, like I said, 2 hours on a Friday night from 10 to 12. That's perfect headbanger, heavy metal stuff. We still have the triple thrash threat. I'm going to include, since I now have 2 hours instead of just one like I used to, I'm going to include Queen Stephra's chopping block. It's going to be like a brutal rock block of some tunes that she's going to recommend. So we're going to have some fun with it. But man, thank you, and just keep trying to dial it in. I think is it 128dbrock.com or is it 128db.com?
We'll put a link in there. We'll have to put a link in the description, because I can't remember off the top of my head. I got to look it up. So yeah, go ahead. What you got next? And I'm gonna put you solo again for a second.
Okay, like I said, I've been just rummaging through rooms full of music and boxes and all sorts of things, and I ran across a couple things. one of our favorite new bands is Power Trip, uh, and this is an ode to Riley Gales, who unfortunately it passed away a year or so ago, and this is a demo tape that they took on tour with them back in 2011. Don't ask me how I found it. I think I found that at Henry's. Um, and once again, in order to save space, what I've been doing is I've been ordering tapes from like this new one from Siverus and this old one, the Siverus. Uh, what is it called? Maze Envy on $20 spin. What a great label. Check them out. But if you order the tape, they give you the download. So I don't even have to open these and I can still listen to the music. Very cool. And speaking of that, Ascended Death, another band you might want to check out. Um, Everfall of the Apocalypse, Fossilization, another killer brooding. We talked about Doom last or a week or so or 2 weeks ago at some point, and this is some of that same stuff. It's kind of like funeral doom, very very heavy stuff. I found a Tomb Mold demo tape of all things, and it's his cryptic transmissions, and one of the little things it says on the back of the tape. It says paradise is too perfect for humanity, and those guys are very very cerebral. In fact, they're going to be here tomorrow night, and it's in a really not a good part of the metroplex, but I may venture down to Deep Ellum. All you that live in North Texas know the reputation of Deep Ellum. Hopefully it's not as bad on Wednesday night as it is on the weekend. New Hyperdontia EP, Deranged. I checked that out and love the new Hyperdontia. Speaking of which, uh, they have a new record out that's really phenomenal. Tomb Mold, The Endearing Spirit. If you like a Death Human mixed with, Death Human, then you'd like that one. Our friend Travis Hatley from Insipidus also plays in Phthisis. He needs to be in bands that are easier to pronounce, but this is so sludgy and so brutal. Um, here's a real keeper, Dream Unending, featuring members of Tomb Mold, and this album actually has a horn section and orchestra, and it's pure death metal, and I promise you won't be disappointed. Um, I could go on and on and on because I love tapes. Infestment, here's another one on Reforestation Records. It's a Russian label. All they do is put out tapes, like Combat Shock and Cyst and some other bands like that.
About this one.
Here's one of my. Oh yeah, Damaged Faith. Aren't you redoing that one?
Yes, we are. This one's going
Okay.
to be coming
I
out
didn't
on
want to.
CD.
I didn't want
Um,
to tip your hand, but yes,
Texas,
yeah.
just great Texas heavy metal. And we're gonna. I think we're
No,
gonna keep. We're gonna do it on CD, obviously, but we're going to. I think we're gonna keep the original cover as cheesy as it is. I like it.
no, I
It's
don't
just
think
kind of
it's cheesy at all. I think it's befitting of that. Um,
yeah. So anyhow,
and once again, Cassette's rule. This is a new spectral voice. Members of this is a Denver band. Members of Blood Incantation, one of my favorite bands all time. Here's one of my. This is probably the heaviest split that will be released this year. This is Hyperdontia and Mortiferum.
okay.
And
No more tip from. I don't know the other one.
yeah, Hyperdontia is a Danish band, and they are absolutely phenomenal. The Queen loves them too. That's one of her new favorite bands. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ulthor, but they released like a two-part EP. Really cool. It has kind of matching cover art, but two completely different tapes and styles of. One's more epic and dooming, and one that's just absolutely brutal and thrashy. But once again, I could go on and on, but it's been fun to just sort of rummage through the mess and try to reorganize myself into a smaller space. And I've discovered that I haven't really had to buy anything new. In fact, I've been selling a bunch of things, and I appreciate those that have bought from me because it's helped me make space, which is my goal all along. But I forget what we have in our collections. The other day I walked into the CD room, and I just said, I'm gonna literally close my eyes and count the shelves, and then just pull off. So I went to shelf number 9, which is my birthday, September, and then I went to the 20th CD from the left and pulled it out, and then I just said, I'm going to listen to it. That's how I'm going to choose my music today. And sure enough, it was something that I had missed out, and it was Death Row Riders of
Oh,
Doom,
right on.
and I thought, man, how
I
can
think
I?
there it is,
That
right there.
thing, yeah, that thing absolutely rips. I love that album. So call it fate, call it circumstance, whatever you want to do. But yeah,
Uh,
but that's
we
how
were
I've been
almost out of.
consuming.
Sorry, I would
I
say
was
we were almost out of time, so I'm going to rip through mine when you're done.
okay. Yeah, go ahead. I'm done.
So I've been listening to this one quite a bit. I'm kind of curious, Damien Hair Metal, if you're still watching. I think you are. What do you think of this album? I mean, it is basically a Lizzie. See if I can Lizzie Borden album under a different name, because it is the members of Lizzie Borden doing a different style of music. It still has a Lizzie Borden flavor to it, but they definitely are trying to mix in a bit of the Iggy and the Stooges punk, along with. Sorry, my computer just gave me a message that I was dying, so I had to fix it real quick. But anyhow, they
So
mix in that kind of punk with the 70s glam stuff. So you're going to hear like T-Rex and Slade and
New York Dolls, maybe.
Sweet New York Dolls. That's a really good example. It's a really really good album, and like you, I kind of forgot about it because it's been sitting on my shelf. I actually have two copies, one signed and one not. And this is coming out on vinyl, which is what sparked my interest. I'm like, oh, I need to hear that again, and so I picked it up. I've listened to this thing like 3 times already. It's so freaking good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the vinyl coming out. And guess who's gets to remaster it?
Is he bald and has a big old beard?
Yep, and he likes Dokken and Bon Jovi.
Rob Colwell. He
Yeah,
needs to be on
Greg.
the show more often to defend himself, but we love him.
I had a feeling you would, Damien. It's a good album. I mean, it's not pop metal, but you know what? It does have the hooks that you would expect from like a pop metal band, because they're doing that, T-Rex. That's what they're kind of going for. It's a mixture of that punk, and it's hard to describe other than, like you said, New York Dolls is probably a good example, but I'm on 99.9% sure that the musicians in this band are a little bit more skilled than the guys in New York Dolls, who were just, I mean, they were doing what they were doing. They did a great job at it, but nobody accuses them of being, the most skilled musicians in the world. I'll go through these quick, but the new Evil Dead, I spun this thing a bunch of times. It is so good. I can't stop spinning it. Some great thrash stuff coming out this year. The new Atrophy, Asylum, also good. I've actually seen people arguing over which album is better, Atrophy or Evil Dead. I don't know. They're both good. That's the way I see it. They're both great thrash. They're both sticking to their
Just
roots.
backing up because I know we're short on time, but I've been curious about that Atrophy because those guys have been on the shelf for a long time. And is it as good as Atrophy was, or is it
It is.
different? Or
It is not different. It is exactly what you want from them. It is as if they released their third album that should have come out in 1991. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's fantastic. I was very impressed with it. So, and
cool.
then the other thrash album that I can't stop listening to, and I've showed this thing multiple times, is Motivic
yeah.
Renouncement.
Man, I gotta get that thing.
This thing is fantastic. I mean, it's different than Atrophy and Evil Dead in that it's a little more diverse. They do have the straightforward thrash songs that you want to hear, but there's a little more diversity to it, and there's a couple songs where they have a little bit of a modern edge. They incorporate in one song, as I recall, like the thrash or the metalcore breakdown. But in the most part, it's just great thrash. And the title track, Renouncement, man, that is a freaking awesome song. But the whole album is great. I mean, the musicianship is fantastic. And the funny thing is the guitar player in this band, he actually watched our show, but I haven't seen him on today. But yeah, it's a great album.
Oh yeah, I do remember him chiming in a few weeks ago. Was that on the Hades episode?
I think it was. Yep.
Yeah.
Another. This one's very proggy, very technical thrash. I just got the vinyl in because you can see mine's not even opened yet. But this is the brand new, the second album from Flood.
Oh yeah. You told me about them.
which is basically Tourniquet under a new name. Of course, Ted Kirkpatrick passed away a couple years ago now, and the the original members from the original band that put out the first three albums. This is pretty much them with obviously a different drummer and a different bass player, but yeah, the guitar player, the vocalist, you got Guy Ritter on there who does those mixture of the clean singing as well as the King Diamond-esque high vocals, and then you've got guitar player whose name is slipping my mind who does some of the growlier stuff in the vocals. So yeah, ripped into exile. Finally,
It looks super like almost Yes like, but it sounds to me what you're describing is not Yes like at all.
it's very
When you say,
proggy, but it's also very heavy.
huh,
It's thrashy. I mean, it's thrashy.
um,
It's very proggy though.
um,
Some of the bass lines alone will make you drop your jaw. It's very proggy, but it's um I wouldn't call it thrash. It's just proggy. It's just prog metal, but it's very heavy prog metal. You know, yeah, I think prog metal. I tend to think of Dream Theater and Fates Warning. It's heavier than that. It's thrashier than that.
so
So
so are you familiar with Conception and
yes,
bands like that? Is it more like
yes,
that? Because they have a
similar.
heavier,
Yeah, similar.
okay, they have a heavier guitar sound.
And then let's see, I got two more to go here. Right, V Mean Streets, the new album. I've played this twice already. I like it. It's good, straight up U.S. power metal, whatever you want to call it. You know, I mean, when you say power metal, people tend to think, you know, that the stuff that's coming out of Europe. This is more in the vein of, I don't know, Metal Church and Heretic and that kind of thing. You know, where it's, you know, it has the speed, but
Reverend?
it's not all double reverend. It's not double bass all the time, and they're not singing about Dungeons and Dragons. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just don't mix it up. It's not that. Not saying that when it comes to power metal. New My Silent Wake, which
I have that. In fact, I just rewrote that so I wouldn't forget. So funny
and
you
I
should
showed this
pop
one
that
last week,
one
so I won't go into deep about it. But it's very doomy and dark, bit
up.
progressive.
Our friend from Motivic just piped in.
Oh,
Thanks for that out. There you go.
there it is. Yeah. And then this is one I've listened to a lot. I really like this one. I kept telling Rob, dude, you're gonna love this album. You need to get it, and he did, and he loved it too. So this is the new Hall of Flame, FLAME amplifier. This is, of course, Kurt Vanderhoof's band from Metal Church.
Mm-hmm.
This is just straight up heavy metal, almost like a follow up to the first album they did, which came out 20 years ago or something like that.
Right.
There's a song on here called 1974 that check it out if you can, Carcass. I think you'll not only dig the music, but I think you'll dig the lyrics too. It's
Okay.
an interesting song, kind of that one of those, you know, one of those songs looking back on days of old and the music of old and living during the time when, you know, we weren't all staring at computers and nobody had cell phones and you know, you were actually out in the street playing kickball or street hockey or whatever we were playing
Playing
back in the day.
baseball until the sun went down.
Yeah. So, and then here's my last one for this episode. I haven't even heard the whole thing yet. I just got this in the mail a couple weeks ago, but this is the Cheap Trick Transmission Impossible box set. It is a bootleg box set, and it's got 3 full shows on it. And the first two are my. I love 70s and early 80s Cheap Trick. After that, I still like some of the other stuff, but it's just like Aerosmith. I mean, their 70s stuff was, to me, is far better than anything they did after. Same thing with Cheap Trick. So there's 270 shows on here. One of them's actually from 1980, but it's fantastic. Oh, sorry. There's underwear right there. You don't want to see your underwear.
Oh gosh, we just went R-rated.
Yeah, but I mean, the nice thing about this set is it actually does have all, you know, it's all in jewel cases, and the weird thing is 2 of them are just in regular jewel cases, and then they have one of them that's in a
Slipcase.
slipcase. So I don't know what the point of that was, but whatever.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's it for me. I mean, I've just been a fan of Cheap Trick since I was a kid. So I know some people as they grow up, they tend to like lose interest in certain bands and they don't listen to them anymore. Growing up, I don't listen to them anymore. That's never happened to me. I just keep adding more, and I still like the old
Yeah.
stuff, and I listen to a lot of the new stuff. So
I did the same thing with Deep Purple as I was rummaging through and consolidating into one little space, and I'm like, do I really need 12 editions of Deep Purple made in Japan? Yes, I guess I do. Brazilian copy, a German copy, a Japanese copy, an American pressing, a newer remaster, blah blah blah. I don't know. Anyway, you
Uh,
can't. You know what? A friend of mine that has about 50,000 records, Mike Sislow, up in Omaha, Nebraska. His whole basement is like a library, but he said you can't own every record, but he surely tried because 50,000 records is a lot. But anyway,
I
wow,
don't know
that
where
was
I put him at.
interesting. And that was fun. Yeah, I don't know where I put him at. Well, see, he's got 1,000 square feet downstairs, and the whole basement is like a library. I mean, it has those long shelves that are floor to ceiling, and everything's cataloged and has a number. And I just
Yeah,
would hate to think
I'm
if
not,
there
I'm,
was a
I'm organized,
tornado
but I'm
or
not that organized.
yeah.
As you can see from behind me, I got piles of crap behind me. So, but
Well,
anyhow,
pile of crap means you're listening to music. So
yeah, that's exactly what it means. I know some
anyway,
people just collect music to collect music, but that's not me. I
no,
collect
I
music
listened to it,
and I listen
and
to
like
it.
I said, yeah, like I said, when I was working, I took the opportunity to listen to, as well as, because when you, especially when you haven't listened to something in a long time, now you got the chance, and you
You
saw
got
it
it.
right in your hand. So anyhow,
All right. Well, we're out of time. I appreciate everybody that watched. Let's see. There's one more comment we need to check out here. Cheap Trick cracked the ceiling of the Hirsch Coliseum here back in '78. I think. Wow, didn't know that. That's interesting.
they
Good
were
for them.
loud.
They were definitely loud.
They weren't such a heavy band, but boy, they were loud.
They were heavier live. I think that's true. A lot of the '70s bands.
No, yeah,
I mean, look at Ted Nugent. His studio albums are nowhere near as heavy as it was live.
no,
I think in
no,
the '70s it was just harder to capture that sound in a studio. But
right,
anyhow, they didn't have Pro Tools back then.
right.
So anyhow, all right. Well, that is it for episode number 233, I believe. I already forgotten
Yep.
what it was. As I'm chatting, I'm looking to find out where our stuff is so I can punch us out. And you can check out Carcass on at Carcass John Art. You can check out Rob at I don't know where's Rob's at. There it is. Rob on Instagram and TikTok at Metal Rob's Records. You can check out Steve at Harmless Rebel 868 on YouTube, and you can check me out on Instagram at No Light to Metal, or you can search me on YouTube on No Light to Metal, or you can search me on Facebook and No Light to Metal, and you'll most likely find me. And that's it. Appreciate y'all watching, and for this
Thank
episode,
you.
we want to say metal
Metal will
will prevail.
prevail.
This is where I leave everybody hanging because, of course, I didn't go to the correct
But
screen.
you're only leaving one person hanging, which, thank you very much, would happen to be me.
Come on, look at that. I messed it up.